Hello everybody, it's Saturday morning, time for another edition of Wardy's Waffle. It'll be Sunday by the time you see this, and a few things going on this week. I'm just about to head to Tesco's in a minute and try and get some more Baileys. I do like Baileys, and I try and stock up this time of year because it is on offer at the minute. Well, it was before Christmas at £10 for a litre bottle. Now whether it's still that price, I'm not sure. Somebody said it might have gone up, but I do love a Baileys coffee, and those of you who've not had one, if you put Baileys in instead of milk, if you have a white coffee, make black coffee, leave half an inch at the top, which you'd normally have for milk, but put Baileys in instead, neat Baileys. You'll find that makes a lovely Baileys coffee. And I have one of those quite regularly most nights before I go to bed. Anyway, that's on that, so I'm heading off there in a minute. So this update, quite a few things going on. Just before Christmas, I had the guy who helps me with my pensions, Sam Gibson, came over and went through all the pension, how they've been doing this year, which is great because they've been doing really well this year, and also talking about life insurance to do with the budget and the inheritance tax things the government are trying to push through. So some of you might recognise Sam from another video that he was on, so I've got a few minutes from him. Also, I'm not quite sure I'll have time to post this, but when I spoke at the Dealer Service Awards conference in, when was it, early December, I sat on the same table as the Lord's cricket groundsman and all head groundsman, and also Twickenham, the home of UK England rugby. I sat on the same table as the Twickenham head groundsman. Now, I interviewed both of them. Whether I'll have time to put those clips up or not yet, I'll see, or if not, I'll put them up later in the week, in the next edition. But also, when we get back to the yard in a minute, I'm going to be looking at machinery, because it's a long while since I've had a machinery update, but I think there'll be so much to look at in the yard. I'll probably do it in two halves. Half of it today in this update, then the other half I'll put on Wednesday. So if you want to see the rest of the machinery, what we've got, and going through it, we'll look at Wednesdays as well. But it's all clean now, thanks to Ruben and Tom. They achieved what they wanted to do and got it all washed before Christmas, which was great. Everything now all put away, ready to be brought into the workshop before Christmas. So after Christmas. So thanks Tom and Ruben for that. Really, you did well there getting it all done. Took a month to wash it, and I think they said they washed over 30 pieces of kit with the forklift attachments and machinery and tractors and everything as well. So that's all done. So thank you very much for that, Tom and Ruben. Also in this update, you can just see here walking behind next to the field of wheat. Really misty, murky here today. Foggy, been really damp. And has been for 3 or 4 days now, quite thick fog as well. But I've got field of wheat there after sugar beet. I thought it would be this time, sort of Christmas time, before it shows, and it's taken that length of time because it was planted on the 15th of December. And if I just go backwards, when I look behind me, you can see here, nicely through now over my right shoulder here, green. So it's planted 15th of December and looks good. So we'll have a quick look at that, but there's just 1 or 2 little wide rows and gaps in it, which I'll touch on. Was a slight issue with the GPS. I've got I suppose it is my financial advisor. Sounds a bit posh. Sam does my pensions and helps us with that. And also another relation in a way, aren't you? Related by marriage. Yeah. So you are, now hang on, my half cousin Richard's daughter you're married to.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's often known as the most fortunate lady in Lincolnshire. Yeah, her name's Katie. You've known her all your life. She seems to think very fondly of you, which I always found
very wrong, but yeah, she does.
No, we've known each other for a
long while, haven't we? And your company, Sam, SGM Financial Management, bit of background?
Yeah, we are independent chartered financial advisors, established about 4 years ago, and it's Shepherd, Gibson, Monday, the surnames of the 3 founders, myself, Tom and Lisa.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, if anybody's looking for any financial help and guidance, Sam is your person. How long ago did you start this? 3 or 4 years?
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time, as you can tell by my boyish good looks. Probably been doing the job for 20 plus years. Yeah. And it's great, love it.
So before we get into pensions and that side of things, something probably just as serious, maybe more serious, the budget, which is a horror show at the minute. And I think as the way things are transpiring after his appearance yesterday in that, was it the EFRA committee, and saying that the tax that he's axing isn't aimed at anybody in particular, they just want to raise money, was horrendous saying that.
Yeah. It's a damaging budget. I don't think he has targeted farmers though. He's targeted everybody.
Yeah.
Even those who he hasn't targeted, it'll come down the line to them, won't it?
Yeah.
If you think about national insurance,
Yes.
increasing employers' national insurance, that feeds through to the guys on the shop floor as well.
And we were saying on that, we're talking a few minutes ago, that actually is having a negative impact on things, isn't it? When you look at the amount of tax and things, just explain what you were saying that a minute ago.
I mean, national insurance, if you increase national insurance for an employer, they've got a number of options, haven't they? One, they could take that all on the chin and say, fair dues, we'll keep paying our people the same, keep giving them good pay rises, we'll just take it on the chin as a company. And if they do that, they'll pay less corporation tax because their profits will be lower. If they pass it on to the staff and say, sorry, but we can't give you the pay rises we're going to give you a bit less, then their staff will pay less income tax. Income tax and corporation tax is at a higher rate than national insurance.
So they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Absolutely. And, again, we were talking earlier, sometimes when you try and fix something, you break something else. And they seem to have the blinkers on. Just, we're going to do this, not thinking of the repercussions.
No.
And this is every business across the country. It's not just farming.
No,
it's every business.
And that's why we had that event in the Palladium, to try and highlight this, that it's every single business it's going to impact on. And I think also, did you see that CBI report that came out a week ago? The extra revenue, which is linked obviously to what you were just saying, that they're shooting themselves in the foot. This is going to generate, is it 1.4 billion in revenue, but it's going to cost them 2.6 in loss of output. And
absolutely. And it also demotivates, doesn't it? Because the small businesses in this country, they're the backbone of the country. If ever you're involved with a really big business, you often find them unimpressive. They're just giant machines, aren't they? It's the small, medium-sized businesses that keep the country going. And there's a lot of demotivated entrepreneurs, business owners at the moment, thinking, what's it all for?
I think the thing is, we've got now is if we can't manage to stop this sort of cascade of everything they're trying to do at the minute, if all our measures that we're trying to do and protests around the country don't work, you think about where we're going to be in 5 years' time, how much damage will have occurred in that 5 years. And if they don't get in, which heaven forbid we mustn't let them get in that 5 years, how many years after that is it going to take another whole parliament of another 5 years to reverse what they've done or try and mend what they've done? And in that case, we're going to be 10 years to virtually standing still to getting back to where we are today.
I just want somebody good running the country. Whatever badge they've got on, Conservative, Reform, Labour. I just want somebody with the country's interests at heart, not point scoring.
No, exactly.
Or getting revenge on people. You ought to have "I will survive" as the theme for what you're doing here. Because you will survive, and we will. Because we're not going to be beaten, and business is business. We're just going to crack on and get through things and thrive.
Rhonda was dancing at an NFU event, a staff thing they had last night.
And
singing, to "I Will Survive." And Sam said that should be our theme tune, and it should.
Maybe not with Rhonda singing.
No, we don't want that. But and it's a great one to have, isn't it? Great one. One other thing we were going to talk about, Sam, is the life insurance. So, and you've got a quote here which is interesting.
It's an absolute back of a fag packet quote, just to give you an idea of what you could do. And the purpose here is to set up a life insurance policy that pays out an amount to your beneficiaries. It would be in trust to your beneficiaries so that they can pay the tax bill.
Right. This is purely for the inheritance tax.
Correct. It doesn't have to be used for that though.
No.
So it could be useful, for example, if there's one side of the family is going to get the farm, one side you're not sure how to provide for them. This could also be used for that. Because it doesn't have to be used to pay the tax. But at the moment, there's a lot of interest in using these to pay inheritance tax.
I know you're doing lots of quotes for people.
Heck of a lot.
Just shows.
Yeah, a lot more than we were 3 months ago. It's for £1 million sum assured, just to have a memorable amount.
Right.
So to pay an inheritance tax bill of £1 million.
And in what term?
It's within the next 20 years.
Right.
And again, that's a figure I've just plucked out of the air.
Yeah.
Really.
So 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, it makes no difference.
No, you can insure for 1 year. You can insure for 7 years on a sliding scale. They're very popular policies.
Right.
If you were planning on gifting the farm and insuring against that gift, you take out one of those 7-year policies.
Right.
But a 20-year plan, that'll take you up to age 64. Will it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you're right.
It'll give you a bit of breathing space.
Yeah.
To decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you can cancel it at any time.
Right.
At no loss.
Yeah.
So 20 years cover, £1 million. Cost of that is just over £600 per month, depending upon your medical state. They would underwrite.
I mean, look.
They'd probably give a discount.
They would. Look at this. Yeah, look what you're looking at, Sam.
They would. If there's nothing there that's nasty, £600 a month.
Right.
It's something to think about.
So, right. So if you have to draw, say I get knocked over in 2 years' time, that would still cover it.
Yeah, and that would be brilliant because you'd only have paid about 12,000 in cover.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be looking up from
there
or down
there.
or
down there. Yes.
Thinking that was a good investment.
Yeah. Interesting. How many people taking them up?
Yeah. Again, a lot more than there were 3 or 4.
Yeah,
we were never expecting this. We act for a lot of farmers, and there's been huge interest in life insurance. We're not trying to panic people.
No,
it's something for people to think about.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's a problem, you've got to find a way around it, haven't you? And it's one way around it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Really interesting.
It's all right.
Nana's just found a piece of sugar beet on the edge of the lane. What sort of spilled off the lorries who were driving down, or one of the machines. She just loves it. Frankie's just having a bit of a look and a wander. So you can just make out in the fog, it is nicely through now. And when you look here though, I think I did post this when it was just starting to come through. We've got a little issue with the GPS, a big gap there and an overlap on there, and that's just Tom got the wrong settings in, put the wrong offset in. With the GPS, when you put the machine width in, you put that into the screen in the tractor, and then the machine should drive accurately up and down, so it's no overlaps, no misses. But occasionally you have to put a trim in or an offset in to just tweak it slightly one way or another. And before Tom drilled these last 4 fields, there was an offset in there, and it wanted the offset actually taken out, not increasing. And I think Tom just sent it wrong way. So it is actually a bigger gap and an overlap. But now we know when we next get the drill in, which will be on the sugar beet land up on the heath. We haven't lifted that yet. We're actually going to put some pegs in and drive up and down before we cultivate the land, so we can go up there and with the drill and just make sure it's absolutely dead on. But I'll just show you here what I mean. So you can see there you've got a dark spot in the middle of the screen. That's because it's overlapped. So that's because the drill coming this way and then the breed going the other way away from us, we're overlapping. That's why we've got a dark spot. So you've got 4 rows on top of each other. So if we'd had here, if that drill had gone slightly that way to the left of the screen, it wouldn't have overlapped so much on that side, and you'd have filled in that gap there. You can see there's a gap there, and then that breed, as the tractor's coming, it would then headed that way, to the other side. That would have filled in that gap and meant that we wouldn't have had an overlap just there, and that would have stopped that, and we'd have had nice rows meeting up, no overlap. But pleased with this is all coming through well in the fog. So back in the yard now, we'll just start having a look at the machinery in the sheds here. This is into the workshop. So into the workshop, Tom and Ruben came back to work last Monday, just to have a final day tidying up, because they wanted to come back to a tidy workshop for all the machinery. Done a cracking job here, got it all smartened up. So we've got the 8RX John Deere, we've had that 2 years. The Manitou that isn't ours at the minute, we've been lent that by B&B Tractors, which I'll touch on in a minute. We've got the Polaris Ranger that we've had since January, and then we've got the Ford Courier van. We've had that probably about 2 years. And little Toyota industrial forklift that is ours, we've had that a few years, and then the Kubota buggy with a real state-of-the-art little sprayer on the back. This isn't ours, it belongs S&K Sprayers from Alford, but it's got individual nozzle control. We'll get it, you have seen it, but when we get using it again, we'll get it out. And it's state-of-the-art, GPS controlled. You can see in the cab there, there's a screen there. State-of-the-art job, individual nozzle control. We're going to use that for spraying off some of the cereal plots and treating the cereal site. So, just to look at these machines here. So, the John Deere RX, excuse me, just get my hair right. The John Deere RX here, we've had this about 2 years, and it replaced a 620 horsepower quad track. Now, this is 410 horsepower, the quad track, so that's 200 horsepower, if you like, less, but it's also 9 tons in less weight. So that's nearly a whole tractor in itself, less than the quad track. When the last year or two of using the quad track, we were starting to move less soil, work shallower, and we weren't using the horsepower that the quad track had, but we were using still an awful lot of fuel doing that. So we had one of these on demo. It pulled the solo and all the other kit and the free flow, everything else that the quad track was doing. It pulled it, so we decided to swap for it, and we got good price for the quad track, and got a really good deal on this as well, with maintenance sort of backup warranty as well. And we haven't really missed the quad track. There are times, I think, when it's really hard, really compacted on the headlands, I think the quad track would just have that bit more grunt and weight and be able to do things just a little bit better. But generally, with all the fuel savings we've got, because this virtually uses half the fuel on any job that the quad track does. So whenever we're using this, it's doing a good job for us. So pleased with this, but it's only done just over, in 2 years, it's done just over 1,000 hours, maybe 1,100 hours. We're not using it huge amount. A lot of people put that on in 1 year, but for us it just works. This Manitou here, you can see, some of you remember seeing the video a couple of weeks ago. We've got an oil issue, an oil pipe gone with ours that's inside the boom somewhere, so that's why it was easier. B&B Tractors picked this up on Monday when I wasn't here. They picked our Manitou up. We've had this, we've fetched this, Ruben fetched this last week, you saw when we were loading straw with Paul. So we've borrowed, this is a 10 metre 4-ton machine, whereas ours is a 9 metre 4-ton machine. But we've just got this until our Manitou comes back, so thank you B&B Tractors for that. Polaris here, Ranger, we use that quite a lot actually, going around the farm, around the field, setting machines up. When you're driving alongside the RX and machinery, you can't see from the tractor cab properly how some of these machines work. So we use the Polaris driving alongside and seeing how things are working. Tom and Ruben use it for feeding every Friday. They go out feeding filling all the feeders up and feeding the birds. And so that's when we use the Polaris. It's really good. It'll do 55 miles an hour on the road as well. So we tend to use it at the minute more than the van. And I'll use it as well going about because it's so good at getting about and going from one farm to another. Anyway, that's this shed. That's the machinery in here. You can just see we've got a press there, hydraulic press there for straightening things out, and then we've got a saw here, electric saw. We've got welder back there, good heater as well. That heater's brilliant. I bought that at a sale in Scunthorpe about probably 8 or 9 years ago, and I think I paid about oh no, this is a new one. The old one, we had an old one and it gave up the ghost. I had to buy a new one about 2 years ago. Really good heater that one is though, really good. So let's go in the other shed now and we'll look at the other kit. So just heading into this shed. In fact, I'll open this other door as well, and it will just let a bit more light in. There we go. So in here we've got 3 tractors. We've got the MX135 that was on a hedge cutter, but we sold the hedge cutter. Or it went for, no we didn't, we did sell it to the farm sale earlier on this year. So we sold that, but we're just deciding what to do with this, whether to sell the tractor or whether to put it on get another hedge cutter to go on it. This is the Case Puma. Now this tractor's 14 years old, and we bought this at 3 years old at 3,000 hours, but it's now done about 7,500 hours. But we really need to get rid of that if we can ever find enough spare cash to swap it. This is the fast track 2170 fast track. Sorry, just going back to the Puma. It's a 225, so 225 horsepower. CVX means it's got the automatic gearbox, completely clutchless gears, which are great. And then the fast track here is a 2170, but we have actually had this tweaked. We had it the pump tweaked and a bit more horsepower put into it, and so it's actually 200 horsepower, this one. But again, this tractor's 12 years old, but not done many hours, maybe 4,500 hours. We've had it from new and really pleased with this, but we are just wanting, the GPS on it isn't brilliant, and so because it's not all wide for GPS like the Puma is and like the John Deere is. It's sort of an aftermarket one, and they're never quite as good. But looking at it, it's in good condition for its age. Bit of rust around the back end, but that's because it was on the fertiliser spreader before, years ago, and that's why it's a bit of rust around it. But good tractor. I like driving that, and as you see, it's quite, whenever I drive it, it's mostly on the Kuhn Aero pneumatic spreader. And so these are the two tractors, but we are just wondering about changing these sometime. Just looking at the Kuhn Aero spreader, it is back here. There we go. And this is 20 metres wide, blows fertiliser and things out by air, but really good, works really well. And put a lot of grass seed on with this and SFI mixes and various things like that. And then here we have the mole plough. This is the one we bought this year. Pleased with this as well, it's done a fantastic job. And then we've got the 12 metre Dalbo rolls there as well, which they open out to 12 metres wide, and they do a great job in consolidating and helping the seed germinate and things after we've drilled the crops. So, and then just lastly in here, this is where we've got load of spares, and all our Simba spares are here. We've got some of the wheels, you see the wheels on the drill that we've got to change, they've got some of those there. And then we've got some whole load of an old hopper there from a old seeder, various Simba bits there. And this is where we keep all the spares. And bit of seed there, various bits and bobs. So just a good handy racking. We put that up about a year ago. It's Saturday evening, 27th of December, and I'm in a village near me called Navenby. You can see it's still foggy behind me. I'm just waiting for the Harmston Young Farmers Christmas tractor run to come through. Harmston Young Farmers are the current holders of the Forage Aid Trophy, and that is awarded to the Young Farmers Club in the country that's raised the most money for the charity Forage Aid that I helped start in 2013, and they raised fantastic £1,700 from their tractor run last year, and they donated it to Forage Aid, and that was the most we had from any Young Farmers Club. So we've got a lot of people here line the streets in this village. It's nearly like a small town, actually, this is in Lincolnshire. There's virtually everything here. There's a dress agency you can see just here. There's a Chinese restaurant. There is a fish and chip shop. There's 2 pubs. There is a co-op, there's a baker's, there's virtually everything here, and that's why a lot of people come to retire here to Navenby. You can see a lot of people here lined up. Actually, I said there was a Chinese, there's a fish and chip shop there, there's a Chinese takeaway and an Indian takeaway there as well. Just such a shame about the fog, just distracts a bit from the views we get, but plenty of lights will be on the tractors. We'll see them in a minute. Here they come. That's just to alert everybody they're on the way. Here they are. Our local tyre company do our tractor tyres. famous, or the most famous air horn on all the tractor runs. That's it for this update, and I hope you've enjoyed a bit of a look around all the yard. You can see it's looking really tidy at the minute. Thank you, Tom and Ruben, again for that. And takes a fair bit of effort doing this, but thank you for both of you for doing that if you watch this. Really appreciate the work you do and helping us and getting everything ship-shape before Christmas. So that's it for this update. Thanks ever so much for watching. Please come back with any questions. Please also, I just want to thank you for all your comments and for watching these videos throughout the year and subscribing to it. I really want to try and get subscribers up to 50,000 if I can by the end of this next year. And thank you ever so much for watching, all the comments, all the support, and also just regarding the business property relief, agricultural property relief, we are going to keep going with that into the new year. We're just having a break and a breather over Christmas, and then we'll start again in January. But hope you all had a fantastic Christmas with your friends and family, and have a great new year, and we'll see you midweek.